Hey, Joe. Joe Davis.
Hello,
Great to see you today.
you too.
Um, Welcome to the Shameless Experiment. And I'm going to give you a quick introduction. Joe Davis is a four times international best-selling author, badass psychic intuitive, medicine woman, adventure addict, and travel junkie. She is a retreat facilitator and the founder of Lift a Sister Up with over 150,000 followers and students. She helps empaths, highly sensitive people, CEOs, world thought leaders, award-winning artists, and everyday mums tap into their intuitive superpowers and slay anxiety through humor and no BS transformation. I love that.
And it says four-time international bestselling author. So you and I are both. I am manifesting that because it's actually three, and this
Oh,
next book will
yes.
be four.
Or thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that for all of us.
All 50 of us in this collaboration. I love it.
Yeah, amazing. And I am so looking forward to unpacking this um, with you because you've written your chapter on your some of your psychic abilities that, well, I guess in my world, even just being an intuitive artist, it was like, well, what does that mean? Can you explain where your art comes from? And I'm like, not easily. It's actually intuitive,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that creative people, whether they're writers or speakers or any place where you're putting yourself out in the world to be vulnerable, it's a very creative space.
yeah,
And I think that creative space is our intuition, and that intuition. I always tell people because you're going to laugh. It's a funny story, but my neighbors who I love, they've been our neighbors for like a year, and was still getting to know them, and they're lovely people. And I had never really told them what I do for a living. Um, the wife is very religious; she's a very strong Catholic, and I really was just feeling it out because I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. And she's lovely, and I knew she was going to need me eventually. And I was like, it's not important to put a label on it. And I finally, after a year, told, we're sitting, I'm like, you do know what I do for a living, right? And then there's all these incidents living next door to her where I show up at her front door with my friend who's a doctor. And I'm like, hey, I want to introduce you to my doctor. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, my dad's coming to visit. And I was wondering, he's been sick and I was wondering what I was going to do. And you brought me a doctor to my door. And then, like, I bring food and she's like, I've been craving that. And then she's like, so I was like, you
oh,
do know what I do for a living, right? And so I don't know if it went over very well. I'm trying not to think about it too much because my whole life is about getting comfortable with being misunderstood. And so when I think about you and your creativity, I'm like, yeah, like our we're supposed to show up in the world, all of us,
yeah,
authentically, raw, real, gritty. But there's a good chance, like a 50-50 chance that we're going to be misunderstood. And when we're so frequently misunderstood, um, but yet the people that connect with us, Michelle, are like, my life has been changed having time with you. We have to weigh those two things out, right?
yeah.
So when we show up in the world, we go, wow, I'm just supposed to connect with who I'm supposed to connect with. And then the other half of the world is going to misunderstand me. And I need to get over my damn self.
Yeah, it's like it's none of our business,
No,
those
it's about
ones.
love and showing
Yeah.
up. Yep. And
Love
being
and showing
real. And
up. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So it's,
and you've been super brave and actually sharing more of your mystical stories.
yeah, in this book,
Yeah.
Radical Courage, which what comes out July 23rd. And I think all of us, I read several chapters in the book as a ghostwriter and was helping different folks. And boy, that book, there's some vulnerable
Yeah.
shares in
Yeah.
that book. Very inspiring.
Yeah. And tell me, so did you, this has been a journey for you to come back to, and the reason why actually I was thinking about what I love about talking to you about this is that what I understand about shame is that when you unpack it and say things openly and talk about it in a witness, then it really helps also dissolve more shame because it's just layers and
Yeah.
layers and layers, isn't it?
Yeah. Like a magic wand. Phew. It's like
Yeah.
pouring water on the witch, that
Yeah.
like, I'm melting. Um, yeah. Yeah. And Brene Brown talks about that all the time. If you call
Yeah.
it out, I mean, if you call it out, you kill it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it doesn't have power over me anymore.
Yeah.
And I think though you and I have been really lucky, especially over the last year working with Radical Company. I think you and I have been really lucky that, for the most part, there's still people in our collaborative group that we don't know that well, and we're still getting to know. But it really feels like it's created more of a safe space for us to do this, which is why I'm so big on collaboration. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, bless their hearts, the folks in the world that don't have people that love them unconditionally, and they really are solo. Because you and I aren't.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. I was thinking
we
that.
feel like we are sometimes, but we're not.
Yeah, we're not exactly. And actually, all the, especially all the jokes, like all the jokes around my project and all the jokes with the naked men, it's really like all of that joking and joking and joking every time. It's it just makes it all so fine.
Yeah, we should do a collaboration, a book called Radical Humor,
Yeah,
because it's funny. Like, come
it is.
on.
It is
Like,
fun.
seriously, I'm raised in a super religious home where God's in this box and everything happened in a book written 2,000 years ago and nothing else is that important. And there weren't a lot of women, in the Bible, and there weren't a lot of like mystical women, and there were, but then they were, removed. And then I show up as a mystical, you know, psychic intuitive, moving in and out of all the clairs, mediumship, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, like I'm all over there. And that's the family. And then my trigger is being misunderstood. Being
Mm,
misunderstood just tears my heart up. And I'm like, gosh, could that part of me just die already? But it just keeps coming back alive like the damn phoenix.
I
That ego of, right?
I do
Do you
because
notice that?
I have my version of it, which is like I just don't want anyone to think I'm crazy.
The craziest people I know appear the most
Sarah
normal.
is like, oh, I'm so scared of everyone thinking I'm crazy. So it's just like, yeah, just like hold it in, just button it up, just like zip, zip.
Yeah, don't wear your skirt too short, your lipstick's too red,
Yeah,
don't take up too
exactly.
much space, don't be too loud.
Yeah.
Give other people the shirt off your back, which is
Yeah.
where you be running around naked all day. Like, there's just some really strange things that were instilled in us to really keep us docile and manageable as kids. And it's all bullshit, all
Yeah.
of it. And I love your project because your project basically is like the extreme. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're interviewing me, but I want to
It's
hear about
true.
this.
I mean, I got up very early this morning. I'm going to interview you, but anyway, I was thinking, and I've just got, like it's taken me 30 years just to get round to be painting these two beautiful naked men. And I thought, what's the shame in like painting these two beautiful naked men together? It's just like, goodness gracious, I don't even know. But anyway, tell me, how did you, what happened to you as a kid? Did you start to get the idea that you shouldn't be? I mean, what happened? What happened? What's the whole story?
Yeah, I mean, just a very religious upbringing. Everything revolved around going to church, twice a week. Everything like it was very, let's all stay in line.
Yeah.
Let's keep your magic in a little box. If it doesn't look this way, it's the devil. Like, I mean, it was really over the top.
Could it have been possible that it was God speaking to you? Or is
I
that
am a
not?
firm, I am
Because
a,
that
well,
sounds
not,
like me like God speaking to you. But,
yeah, well, I think God's talking to us all the time. I think
yeah,
intuition is a conversation with God.
yeah,
Because I mean, it just feels very simple to me. I don't know why we make it so complicated, but
me too. Too.
in religious upbringing, majority of the teachers, influencers in the church that I was around, including my parents, were very much about that was Old Testament. There are no mysticals now. Like healers only
Oh,
look a
okay.
certain way. Like it's like
Yeah, I get you.
magic is like to 1,000 some years ago.
Okay.
Miracles are like they're really rare, and it all just needs to look this certain way, or it's scary. And
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it?
yeah, it's very common in lots of churches and lots of different religions that's like, oh, we don't, you know, that's
We don't
that's
do that.
yeah, we don't do that anymore. That's And I'm like, wow, like I see miracles all the time. Like every time we leave our house, David and I, something crazy and magical happens every time. And I created this group, this, private group, Lift a Sister Up Club, as a place for people to share their crazy stories, their magical stories, because those stories give us all hope. When I hear a story about a miracle or some kind of superpower or some kind of miraculous healing or mystical experience or divine intervention that's impossible to explain.
Yeah.
Impossible. There's no logical explanation. It inspires me. I feel connected. I feel alive. I feel hope.
Yeah,
And
like,
so let's put all those stories somewhere and share them.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But weird things happened to me as a kid.
Yeah.
Um, I remember one of the strangest things that ever happened to me. And I just thought about this the other day is I was going to sleep, I think it was late at night, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool to play catch or play baseball outside in the dark? Like if there was like a baseball night game, but it was totally dark and like wouldn't it be, look, this it just went dark
What?
just now, my screen. Yeah, go figure. No surprise. Like what if that were like a thing, like this magical thing where just we had no sunshine? Like they do in Alaska. I don't know. Something in my head thought of this. 2 days later, there was a solar eclipse and we're out back playing catch.
Wow.
And I was like, did I imagine this a couple nights ago?
Yeah.
Did I make believe that? Like, I was like, no, no, no. Those things don't happen to ordinary people. And
Okay.
my entire life has been about those things happening to ordinary people all the time. Everybody has a story. You have
Yeah.
crazy divine stories that you're like, nobody's gonna believe this.
Yeah, okay. So
Right?
you were having these experiences, but no one, and you were just keeping a lid on it all.
Yeah, and I ended up with a lot of stomach problems
Okay.
because your gut is your intuitions in your belly,
Yeah.
and almost all the highly sensitive people and empaths I work with, most of them, half of them, if not 75% of them, had stomach issues as kids, and I'm like, isn't that fascinating?
Mm,
Hmm.
okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, just feeling like a weirdo my entire life, like I was in a fishbowl looking out, or vice versa, and yeah, just it's a very isolating experience, probably much like what you experienced growing up, where you were just like, I see the world this way, and everybody else is talking about it like it's some other way, and I don't see it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. It has been a bit isolating, just feel like looking on the outside, looking in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, does this happen to anyone else? Does anyone else think like this? I mean, it's not like I had any mentors. Um,
Yeah.
you know, keep the cat in the bag. Like
Yeah.
don't.
And I guess that the super exciting thing now is having written your chapter about it. And I know that you're talking about it so much more in the Lift a Sister Up Club. How is that?
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's good. It's good. Like I feel like I'm over 50 now, and I feel like I'm running out of time. I
Yeah.
feel like I need to hurry up and put these stories somewhere so somebody else will be inspired and not feel so alone because all these stories are about you're seen, you're loved, you're heard, you're valued. You're a big damn deal because all the parts of the piece of the puzzle that had to come together for this moment, like us connecting, like let's
Yeah,
backtrack that. Like that's
it's
madness.
true.
Like you're in the UK, I'm in Mexico. These people we hooked up with are in like Pittsburgh and New Jersey. I mean, it's so weird. Like all the puzzle pieces.
I know. And actually, I think about that day when I was sitting there and you came and sat beside me. I'm like, interesting. It's just these little moments.
Yeah, like, and I just think there's this hand that's guiding us all. Like, I
Yeah,
think there's this thing that's big and beautiful and non-judgmental and powerful that's got our back. And you can call it God, your higher power, your guardian angels, you can call it your dead grandmother looking out for you. It doesn't matter what you call it. When we start calling it things, that's when we get judgy and we turn into weirdos. So, um, there's always this sort of hand at our back that's like this project, drawing 100 naked men to get over your feelings of shame because you've
yeah.
been drawing images of people and these beautiful, beautiful, oh God, your work is so beautiful. These
Oh,
beautiful sketches, and you just left out the anatomy.
I know
You were like, that's weird. Why am I doing that? Like, we're all
that
beautiful. All the parts of us are beautiful.
exactly. I
So
have.
then you embracing it is like there was like a hand at your back, like
Yeah.
Do fix that, work on that.
I did really feel that, and I was like, I felt like it was like one of those crazy big ideas. Like, and if someone, it was like, you don't want to let this one go. Like it's like a big fish.
Yeah, I love that. Elizabeth Gilbert, she calls
Yeah.
it big magic, when an
Yeah.
idea just drops in your head and it drops in 10 people's head all over the world, building an airplane.
Yeah.
There wasn't one, it wasn't Orwell and Wilbur Wright. At the exact same time in Europe, there was another dude and another dude, and who got there first? So the universe drops this stuff and is like, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
You gonna have courage? You gonna sit
Yeah.
on it? You gonna
Yeah.
die with your dreams? Or are you gonna do
Yeah.
something about it?
Well, yeah, I sat on it for a year and I was just like, this is terrifying. This is terrifying. What is everybody going to think? What is going to happen to me? What?
Right. And yeah, mad respect. Every time I post one of my mystical stories, my videos in this private group, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if Michelle can draw like penises, then I can get over myself and share my magic and my mystical stories.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you got a
important.
have you got a story that you'd like to share with us?
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even know where to start. Mm, they're all a little bit long.
Yeah.
Um, Let me think. Well, last summer I was really sick,
Okay, I
and
didn't know that.
I yeah, I was really sick, and I have a couple fears, and one of them is sharks, and one of them is a antibiotic resistant infection. I was like, sharks,
I
I'm
hear you.
out,
Yeah.
and antibiotic because I have so many people in my family that had diabetes, and I was like, my ex mother-in-law passed away from complications from diabetes, and I was given a lot of antibiotics as a kid, and so I had this fear of an antibiotic resistant infection. And lately I've noticed that fears, until I look them in the eye, come at me.
Yeah.
And I have a list, right? Ridiculous fears. And so last summer I was like feeling this push and this push and this push to just like something like I'm going, like I just knew I was going to die if I didn't push. And so I had this great doctor. I have great medical care here in Mexico. It's the best medical care I've ever had in my life. And this doctor is a friend of mine. I invited him over and I sat him down. I said, okay, look, something is really wrong with me. And you've run all these tests and they've all come back normal. But I know something's wrong with me. I don't care if it's bladder cancer. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I'm going to be fine. But if you don't run the right tests, I'm not going to be fine. And he was taken back. He's like, I said, and I know I'm not. And I said, I need you to sit with this for a minute. And I need you to really think hard. What tests you need to run? Run them all again. Like I'd run the same test 3 times. He was
It's
like,
not, I've got
you know what?
goosebumps.
Yeah, he said, let's run them again, all of them. This one particular cluster. And sure enough, I had an antibiotic resistant infection in my organs and it hadn't moved yet to my kidneys, but it was finally showing up in my blood work and it was just hanging there and it was affecting all these other organs, but it was hanging in the tissue of an organ. So it there's a name for it, there's a medical term for it, but it finally showed up and he's like, there's only 2 antibiotics in the world that can kill this infection. And back in the States, if I would have had the same thing, they would have hospitalized me for like however long. You would have called your family in, settled some things, gotten your affairs in order, and then prayed that this antibiotic with an IV over 10 days either didn't kill you or didn't, wouldn't work. And
Wow.
so every day he came to my house with this antibiotic that made me terribly sick. It made me so sick. And I was like, wow, that's like another near death experience. So, I mean, I feel like that's where God's talking to you and your intuition. It's
Wow.
not, yeah, and it's not just like when I do sessions with clients, I'll say crazy things like, um, I imagine I'm seeing you with this little girl wearing a bucket hat. And the whole time I'm doing your meditation before the session, I'm seeing this little girl with a bucket hat. And this client I'm on the phone with, she's like sending me this picture, on a Zoom. She sends me this picture on my phone and she's like yeah, my daughter's obsessed with bucket hats. She's a grown adult, but her whole life she's only ever wore bucket hats. She wore them in a graduation picture. And this last Christmas, she bought all the women in the family a bucket hat, and here's the family picture all wearing bucket hats. And I'm like, oh, so that's like weird. Like that's like who walks around, and gets these intuitive hits? Who sits at a restaurant and knows they're on their first date, he's cheating on her, blah blah blah, he's sick, he doesn't know it, blah blah. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
like it's nuts, right? So why I'm telling you this is everybody has these gifts because
Yeah.
everybody has intuition. But we go, oh, it's a coincidence. Not a conversation with God. We go, oh, it's a coincidence.
Yeah. Well, I think recently I've learned, that there's like seven different types of clears, isn't there?
Yeah.
Clear. And it's like, because I can't read the future, but I can definitely feel how people are feeling. It's like, oh,
Well,
that's
you're an empath. You're an
yeah,
empath, or we wouldn't be talking. Like, no
yeah,
one wants anything to do with me that's not an empath.
yeah.
They're like, oh, and they run away. But
Yeah,
yeah, like we all have these gifts, and I think my calling is to help people tap into them because when you listen, you skip the lessons. You s- it's not that you skip them, I guess, so much as they're less brutal. The
yeah,
smackdown, the whisper, the nudge, the smackdown. What if you figure it out when you get the whisper or the nudge and not when you're in the fetal position crying in your bed for days? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be that hard. There's something that's always trying to work with us or guide us or love us or hold space for us or, wants abundance and health and wellness and amazing relationships for us. And we're so, maybe it's trauma based, maybe it's we're control freaks, maybe it's all wound up together where we just need to be in control of everything. So we get ahead of it, so we're safe.
yeah.
And I
I'm just
think
wondering if it's like fear, like
yeah, it's all fear. That's why this book, about
yeah,
courage,
yeah,
is
exactly.
so important because for a fact, girl, every time you do something that's scary, right
Yeah,
after that,
yeah,
some magic thing happens,
exactly.
right?
It's wild. Yeah. And I definitely feel the energy shift of it all. It's like, oh, this is so interesting.
Yeah, you're like, something's happening.
Something's happening. You don't learn and grow by just doing the same old thing.
Mm-mm. It's safe and it's boring. And, you know, I always say that, the ghost of regret surround you on your deathbed. You want a whole room full of ghosts of regret? Or do
That's
you want to be sitting in epic experiences and memories and, treasured moments?
Yeah, I always think that. I think what spurs me on, and when I have kind of funny days, is like I just do not want any more regrets piled up around me. Like, I'm enough,
God, they suck because you
enough
can't do
already.
any, you can't undo them.
Exactly. It's like, no, no, that's it. I'm done. I'm up to my limits.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think it's just
yeah.
important that people tap into their intuition because it's such a gift that's so like discredited and it's there for all of us.
Do
We
you
just
have do you sit quietly? Do you have a practice that you do, or is it just what do you do?
Yeah, so before I meet with a client, I hold space for an hour before and I meditate. And I have my little, I'll send you a picture later. It's really hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, I have my little mask on and my meditation music blaring in my ears, and I'm like just breathing and kind of getting out of my own way, letting my mind wander. And then as images, ideas, words, sounds, anything, because I move in and out of all the clairs. Sometimes it's smells or feeling as things pop in my space. I'm ADD, so I move around a whole lot, right? So if when I'm meditating, the idea or the thing hangs there and I can't move on to the next thought, like, oh, that's interesting. If it hangs there, like annoying me, like
Yeah.
hanging over me, and I can't move on, I write it down on a little note card and I
Yeah.
set it aside. And then I go back and then I write it. And I just end up with this whole note card filled with things that mean absolutely nothing to me, that
Yeah.
are strange, a ladybug or um, I'm seeing this client like looking out her kitchen window, sipping her tea. And I'm like, oh, that's like her daily practice. Well, I'm obviously not at her house stalking her, looking in her window. But then I get on the session and I'm like, do you drink tea every morning? Is that like your ritual? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, well, there's something that's showing this to me. And that thing that's showing it to me is like your angel, your guide, like you're not alone, you're loved, you're seen. That information came from over there and got into this thick ADD brain. And I'm sharing it with you. So that's my practice working with clients. And with working with myself, my practice is, first thing in the morning when my feet hit the floor, my mantra is nothing shall enter this sacred space that doesn't serve my highest good. And that's me telling all my angels and my guides to come out of the dugout and get to work and make my day amazing. And I'm along for the ride. And that's how I function. Every email I answer before I click the Zoom button on this, I'm like, nothing shall enter this sacred space that doesn't serve my highest good, gets me out of the way. But that's definitely, I mean, I would say that's my most obsessive mindful practice.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah,
Wow.
pretty magical stuff. But everybody can do this. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I teach. So when I teach my clients, I'm teaching them how to get out of the way and step from big mess to big magic. And there's this effortless, like half the magic shit that happens in my life, I don't even share with people, Michelle, because nobody would believe it. Like it's so outrageous. Like okay, 2 weekends ago we're at Red Rocks in Colorado on the very last row of the concert,
Oh,
cheapest
yeah.
general admission tickets in the world. Within 20 minutes of sitting my butt down on the rock bench, because it's all this huge rock formation, this outdoor amphitheater in Colorado. Within 15, 20 minutes, we're backstage with all three bands. I mean, something's happening,
I love that story so much.
right? So there's
Yeah.
things like that all the time. And
Yeah.
you just keep your head on the swivel and you expect magic. And it doesn't have to look the way you need it to. Like if you look at your life right now, does it look what your plan was when you were 15? No.
No, I mean, not even not, not even six
But
months
it's
ago. It's
it's
wild.
better, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
And that happened because you felt a calling
Yeah.
and you were afraid, but you took action. You
Yeah.
stepped into courage. You borrowed you borrowed other people's courage in our collaborative groups, right? We borrow everybody
Totally.
else's and we're like,
Exactly. Borrow their
they
belief.
believe.
Borrow their
Yeah, they
belief.
believe.
Yeah.
And
Borrow their trust. Borrow
yeah,
their
and
vision.
everybody can have that.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah. Amazing. I can't wait for this book to come out. 23rd.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Joe,
I'm not
yeah,
yeah,
go
go
on.
ahead.
No, I was going to say, how do people find you if they want to find you?
So if you look up Lift a Sister Up, I
Yeah.
pop up right at the top. Um, Otherwise, you can find me on any social media platform, Joe Davis, which is like the most common name. I am not, there's another Joe Davis who I'm sure is a lovely woman who writes very saucy romantic novels, and that is not me.
Oh,
But I'm sure I've been sending her a lot of business by telling everyone about her with the half naked fireman on the cover. I'm sure she's lovely, but that's not me. But yeah, you can find me on
that's
any social, right? Look her up. You can find me on any social media platform, and you'll be sharing my links and my link tree and all that good stuff when you
exactly.
publish this. But I'm excited about this book. I'm
I'm
excited
excited.
to shine a light on all these brave authors. Wow.
Yeah, and I think this courage has got a I think courage ripples out, when you hear someone else being courageous, it's easier to go, "Oh, I can do that. If they can do that, I can do that." And it makes it accessible. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Inspiration. I always say that we're hope. HOPE, hope
Yeah.
pimps.
Hope
We're
pimped.
like we're like shelling out the hope.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, the world needs it. The world
Mm,
needs us to show up, that's for sure.
I think so. That's literally, I was just thinking that this morning. I was thinking that's all we were ever meant to do was show up and be ourselves. And what happens, the responses is just,
Yeah, yeah, be ourselves and then get out of our own way and
yeah,
let that other thing, that intuitive, red foot phone to the divine, whatever it is, that guttural knowing,
Yeah.
take the wheel,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
not making it so hard.
Do our work. Exactly. Not
Yeah.
second guess ourselves the whole time.
We have the best conversations. We should do this more often.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for coming and being with me.
Yeah, I'm absolutely honored. I just have so much respect for the work you're doing, and I've been so inspired this last year. And I'm still looking at van rentals to drive up, through the UK. Like, get everybody piled in a van and let's do our road trip.
Yeah,
Maybe like
totally.
our 2-year plan or something. Maybe we
Yeah,
can kidnap Sue Green, that's in our group. We can kidnap her. And
I think
can you
so.
imagine how much fun
Yeah,
that would be?
I can. I have that. I've got that on my vision board.
Too. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna
All
happen.
right, girl. This has been
Okay.
great. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for you.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Big love.